All right, good afternoon, folks. So if you are reaching this video, it means you have made it through something like 7 videos. So first of all, congratulations. That's at least 35 minutes. I appreciate your time and patience. So at this point, we are getting to the point where you can begin analyzing a passage of Shakespeare on your own, which is sort of the point of doing all this stuff anyway. On Friday of this week, and we'll talk more about this on Thursday, but you're going to be taking all the interesting things that you notice, and you will be talking through a full passage of Macbeth on your own. I'm not saying that this has to be professional. I'm not saying you have to understand every word. My guess is that you will understand 60% of the words, and that is fine. Remember, with Shakespeare, the whole point is baby steps, right? We have to be a little bit patient. So what I'm going to do now is a quick talk through of kind of what I want that to look like. Basically, I'm going to take a mini passage of Shakespeare like you are going to. I'm going to talk through all the things that I noticed sort of in the order that I noticed them. The big question for this assignment is just as simple as when you look at a passage of Shakespeare, what do you notice, right? What are the first things that come to mind? So without further ado, let's go on to there. By the way, I've got my llama coffee mug to keep me company over here. So in this passage, as you guys may remember, Macbeth has just killed the king. He's just finished it, and then he goes out and he's telling Lady Macbeth how it went. And as some of you may remember, it doesn't go all that well, mainly because Macbeth is totally wrecked with guilt, right? He is overcome by just this tidal wave of guilt. So he goes, "Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does murder sleep, the innocent sleep, sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care, the death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, balm of hurt minds, great nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's feast," etc. So rather than talk through everything all at once, let us just take this step by step. The very first thing that I noticed is that we have a full stop at the beginning of this first line because it ends in an exclamation point. That implies, as some of you may remember, that the actor would take a long breath or pause after here. So this is sort of a dramatic moment. Macbeth said he thought he heard a voice cry while he was murdering the king, "Sleep no more." Pause. And then, interestingly enough, we do not have another full stop until all the way over here, where we have our period. And what this implies to me, if I'm working through this, is that Macbeth is getting very worked up in this speech, sort of like Lady Macbeth was in the previous passage that we talked about. I mean, how often do you talk for 6 or 7 lines without taking a breath? Not very often. Why would you talk that fast without taking a breath? Maybe because you are very anxious, you're very stressed. So first thing that I noticed about this passage is Macbeth is saying a lot of words here without taking a break. And finally here, he takes a breath. So Lady Macbeth, I like her answer here. She says, "What do you mean?" And I think anyone who is reading this is wondering the exact same thing. So Macbeth elaborates, "Still at Clyde, sleep no more to all the house." And then we have another full stop. We have a mid-stop over here, a period in the middle of the line. That is our first mid-stop. And then we know if you have a mid-stop, it means the next thing is said with a little bit more urgency, with a little jolt of momentum. "Macbeth shall sleep no more," period, break. So we have Lady Macbeth's passage here. The final thing that I want to point out is this big dramatic ending to this passage, where Macbeth goes, "I'll go no more, period, full stop. I'm afraid to think of what I have done, period, full stop. Look on it again, I dare not, period, full stop." So this is a very dramatic moment in this scene. How do we know? Because over here, Macbeth was not stopping at all. But over here, Macbeth is saying each one of these lines with a big pregnant pause at the end. He's sort of lingering over these words. By the way, if you see this kind of awkward looking apostrophe T, that just means it. Look on it again, I dare not. So now we've done the most basic thing in this passage. Let's look for a few more things.